Hey guys, I'm going to make a second video here for my bike Spirit. I made a video a little while back and I realized I had my hand over the microphone on my phone for a good portion of the video and kind of muffled out some things. And I've done a couple things since then, not too much though, but I do want to just kind of make this redo of the video, kind of do a walk around of the bike, and it might help some people who are putting together their first build. This is my first build. I've learned a lot of things through watching videos, and so I thought I'd make one of my own, which kind of goes over this thing, kind of top to bottom, of some of the upgrades and modifications I did, just to kind of help this everything kind of fit together and put together a nice solid ride. You know, one of the great things about this hobby, is all about learning, but it's also about sharing ideas that you've had, ideas that maybe didn't work, and some workarounds that you did for some troubleshooting. So let's start with this little introduction. I named her Spirit. It's a hyper frame. Hyper frames are an all steel frame, which really works well for what we're looking for. Aluminum frames are just a little bit not quite as strong around the welds and the tubing, so I think a steel frame is a better fit for putting an engine on a bicycle that really wasn't designed for that. So I like the hyper frame. A couple of designs about the hyper frame other than it's steel. It's a beach cruiser, which has a nice open area for us to put our engines in. If you look at this, I think they call it the seat tube, but it's the part of the frame that goes up to where the seat connects, but it's kind of an arched, has an arch to it. So at the top, it kind of bends toward the back, which obviously gives us a lot of room for our carburetors and intakes and all. Now, some people put offsets and bigger size carbs in. They have to kind of do all sorts of other elbows and stuff in there. But if you're looking to put just a stock kit on your bike and kind of want to have it look nice and clean and not have any problems with clearance, the hyper frame does a great job for that. And again, it's got a nice beach cruiser style to it as well. I do kind of like a cruiser kind of position for just my body, where I'm sitting on the bike. I don't want to lean over the handlebars, and this really allows you to have a nice upright seating position for long rides, where you're just sitting looking for a leisurely cruise. It's a very comfortable position to be riding in for long distances. So yeah, I like it. It's a good looking. I think it's a good looking frame, and it's got everything we need. Right? It's got again the space for the engine, obviously, and then also these I can't know what they're called, but this portion right here, you get two bars, and that allows you to put your CDI right kind of between them. It snugs nice and centered up inside there for a nice clean look. It kind of tucks up in between there, and so I think it's again a really good fit, a very good size for what we're looking to do. I'll kind of go over these modifications. We'll kind of start from the front and work our way to the back. Let's start with the triple tree fork. So one of the things that we do is we ride, and we ride faster than these frames are designed to go. So having a nice suspension front fork is a nice thing to do. But again, because of the extra pounding that we're kind of putting it through at much higher speeds, the stronger is better. And a triple tree fork not only has obviously a reinforced framework there, but it doesn't just connect through the bottom and rely on the strength of just the one center tube. It goes all the way through the steering tube of the frame and connects at the top. So it's really that triple tree gives you all that extra reinforcement on the front frame. There's a lot really cool options out there, cool looking options, including those Springer forks. But this is just an opinion thing, but I just don't think they provide the added strength that we need for the kind of punishment we put these frames through. So I picked these up on eBay. I thought they were about $49. Now I'm looking at them. I can't seem to find any less than about $90. But I think if you shop around, I really think I picked these up for $49. So again, if you're going to build it and build it right, it's really a good investment, a smart investment. It'll give you some nice suspension on your front and also hold up really, really well. let's talk about fenders. Everyone has their opinions about fenders. The main thing is you just don't want them breaking on you while you're riding down the road. And so I put some upgraded fenders which have not just one set of supports, but a top and a rear support. And I always make sure everything has nylock nuts on there so they don't come off, and then I even use a little bit of Loctite on there as well. So I think where most fenders fail is when they get loose and or they get old and rusty and you have hardware that's breaking off. Well, I think as long as you keep everything nice and solid, you're not going to have any fenders getting pinched by the tire or getting grabbed by the tire and then wrapped around and tossing you over the handlebars, which none of us want. So I've got this. It's just you can get these. They're extra long, so you get a full 90 degree all the way around the tire, so you don't get any mud splashing up there. And then the rear is that's 180 degrees. It goes all the way down to the back and all the way up to the front. Connects right up front where it's supposed to. So you got, it screws into the frame there. It screws into the frame right there. And then I've got an upper and two rear supports that keep it spaced nice, a good distance away from the tire. And again, then I've got the nuts on the outside, so they're not poking in on the tire at all, and just a very flat head for the screws. I don't know if you can see that. So there's really just no way for the tire to expand through speed and grab those, and that's the key is just to not have anything too close to your tire where it can kind of get wedged up against it. So a little tip there. I've got a little bicycle headlight on the front, and stay tuned for a new video coming soon. I've got a whole light array that I just can't wait to show you guys, but it's going to it's going to have front blinkers and rear turn signals and a nice beefy front headlight, and it's all going to be powered off of a cordless drill battery pack. And man, I'm excited. I got all the parts and pieces on order. I can't wait to get this thing put together, and I'll have another video showing you how I did that one. Let's see, I added caliper brakes. This was a beach cruiser, and it just had the rear coaster brakes on it. So what I did is I bought these caliper brakes. They are designed to attach onto most fork setups. So these triple tree forks have a little hole there on that little upper crossbar. That's where I connect both the part of the fender as well as that's where the caliper brake connects. And then for the rear caliper brake, I showed this in the last video, but I'll go over this. This was a flat piece of steel. It was a mounting clamp that came with the expansion chamber, and I'll go over that in a second. But so it was just like an extra strip of metal that I bent into kind of a U shape. And then I added metal spacers. There's one here, and there's one that goes in between, right there. And then the bar goes all the way through. The bar for the caliper brake goes all the way through the middle spacer and then the rear spacer. And then obviously I got a nut that's holding the whole thing on. But it's really snug. Plus this strap of metal actually mounts down in there too to this crossbar frame, and that's one of the mounting screws for you can't see it, for the mud flap. Just about see it. But anyway, so that's how I have it not only secured there, but then this bolt going through all the spacers holds it from wiggling up and down. So it's really solid and snug, and a nice connection point for these caliper brakes. I kind of messed up and let this thing get all frayed up. I'll probably replace that cable with another one. So the ends of these are usually tinned a little bit so they don't spread out like that. But I'll probably do that next time I have to take my caliper brakes or my tire off. So since we're kind of looking at this little area, let's look at a whole bunch of things. First, my exhaust system exits out the bottom rear. I like that. It's nice and low and to the ground, and the sound is low and to the ground. I'm not looking to wake up the neighbors or piss them off, so it's a nice exit point. This is a flex pipe muffler. I think there's a brand there called a poo-poo muffler. It looks very similar, same idea. That's a little expansion chamber which helps increase combustion a little bit. It's not crazy powerful, but it does do a much better job. It's nice and quiet. That is where I attach the expansion chamber itself. The flex hose, though, can run anywhere you want, but it has a really nice path right here if you land it right directly along your tube. So here's where it exits out the exhaust port. Goes right. I have it routed so it's right underneath the bike frame, right underneath my bracket, and then following along all the way to where it mounts there. I've got a couple little clamps that I don't know if you can see them here. Those are just strips of metal. There's another one of those spacers, those metal spacers. This is just a strip of metal that goes all the way on the frame and then bolts right there, and I've got a second one right here. So it works really, really well, holds it nice and stiff. This thing isn't wiggle or jiggle or nothing. It really doesn't vibrate. It's just part of the bike now. So if you're concerned about how they might flap around or they get loose, as long as you mount it to the frame, real smart like, then that works. The engine, I haven't done anything special. It's just a China Doll 49cc. I did put a compression head on there, painted it black, and put these nice little billet covers on the magneto and drive chain or drive sprocket. The kit that I got had a straight clutch arm. Boy, if you can, just go buy one of these bent clutch arms. They're so much nicer. And the way I like this one is it actually has just actually a set screw that attaches on the outside of the cable and then fits into a little fitting in there. So it's actually, and there's this, you can't see it, but there's a slot at the end of the arm. So actually taking your cable on and off doesn't require loosening that bolt at all. If you ever need to take your cover off, all you got to do is slip this through the slot that's at the end right here, and it comes right out. It's really nice. I'm doing something funny. I'll get over to the other side here so you can see this. I'm trying something funky with my air intake. So what I did is, this is a stock carburetor. It's actually a Boafeng carburetor. It's very similar to an NT, and it comes with a stock the air intake little cap there, and I took a second one and I cut it up and I made it into like a hood scoop, and so it's kind of like a ram air kind of a thing, so it catches air and flows more down into the tubes. So I have that thing kind of mounted upside down, and if you can see it, I hope you can. The lighting's not very good, but if you can see that, so the tubes are poking up from the stock one that's attached, and then I just took a second one and clamped it over the top. Sorry for the jerry rigging, but it actually seemed to work really, really well. And as I was getting into top speeds, rather than four-stroking, it was catching more air, breathing a little better, and I actually got some nice RPMs out of it. I was up to about 36, 37 miles an hour on a 44 tooth sprocket, and I'm a heavy guy, so that worked out pretty good. Let's talk about a few other things. We've got the arch tensioner here. Really just a clever idea. I learned about it through Eugene. Thank you, Eugene Hughes at Hughes Motorsports. It was a great idea. Yeah, obviously it's a way of attaching your tensioner. I've used it to attach my exhaust muffler. I've also used it to attach the silly chain guard that we use. And obviously with a chain tensioner like this, you can really adjust the tensioner wheel to just about any position. It's never going to bend or tweak on you. It's not going to be pulled into the spokes. It's about as solid and safe as it comes. I'm very happy that I got it. I don't use the roller that came with it, which was a skateboard roller. I've tried a couple different things, and then I just kind of had an idea, and I said, why even use a roller? Why not use a cog? A cog that is designed to roll with a chain. See, the problem with the standard plastic rollers or the nylon rollers or even the rubber rollers is if you snug the chain nice and tight like you want it to reduce any chain slap, it's going to actually carve into the plastic or the nylon roller, or it's going to grab that skateboard wheel and it's going to want to walk a little bit here and there. So you can't ever really tension the chain as tight as you'd like it, because if you do, it's going to deteriorate or disintegrate the material that's being used for the roller. So why fight it? Why not go with something that's designed for this? So I put a cog on here. It's just a free rolling cog on on a bearing, and it rolls just fine. I'm able to snug that sucker just as tight as I want it. Not super duper tight, but just as tight as the chain that I'm using to pedal with. It rolls just fine. You don't hear any clatter as it rolls, and you have no chain slap whatsoever. It's a nice, snug system, and it seems to work just fine. So I'm really, really happy with that. It was a great idea. I'm staying back here. Let's take a look at the adapter that I have. This is the rear sprocket adapter, which you can do the rag joints. A lot of folks do that. I wanted a sprocket adapter, but even if you get one that fits your hub perfectly, no matter how much you reef that sucker down, it will have a tendency to walk or shift on you. Now, I've heard of people using JB Weld to just bolt that sucker in place, and that's fine, but that doesn't allow for any service work later on because it's glued to the hub. Tony Taylor had a great idea of using a Woodruff key and carving out a notch in the hub, and that works out good too. It takes a little bit of grinding expertise. What I did is I used just a jam nut and a set screw. So I tapped in for I think that's an 8mm set screw, and the leading edge, if you will, that screw has a bit of a crown in it, so it actually cuts in, if you will, to the hub a bit as it's snugging on in there. And then I also made sure I had one that was just long enough so I could put a jam nut on there as well. So I reefed that bolt down into the hub, and then I secured it in place with that jam nut. And so far, as you can see, that sprocket hasn't shifted at all. And I've done all sorts of crazy things with this bike, starting it and stopping it, and things that we do to it, and it has not budged a bit, as you can see from the that placement of that pillar, if you will, in the center of the spokes. It has not budged a bit. This is certainly a way of doing it that is working amazingly well, guys. Sorry I'm taking a little extra time on these things, but I want to kind of go over these. I think I missed some of the things last time. The tank. So this is a 4-liter tank. Now with one of the things that's tricky with the hyper frame, and that's not the only one that has these challenges, the switch cruiser that Tony Taylor's building right now is the exact same frame design, and these top tubes, these top frame sections that we mount our tanks to, have a significant arch to it. But obviously the bottom of our tanks is flat. It doesn't have an arch inside there. It has a cupped trench that fits over the top of the frame tube, but it's still kind of flat. And so what you have to do is figure out a way to span that gap between the bottom of your tank and the frame itself. Well, you can certainly get longer straps to make that clearance, but what you're doing is you're still having to put a tremendous amount of stress on all the little mounting points of the tank itself to snug it down tight enough to keep it from wanting to wiggle around or rock around on your frame. So here's what I did. I used brackets that grab onto the frame, and then extended longer bolts that go up to where they actually reach where the mounting points of the tank are. If you have a stock tank that's similar to this, Tony Taylor used an idea I showed him, and I think it's not original. It's original to me, but you run a double set of brackets to hold onto the tank, have brackets that grab the bar rather than having to reef down on the tank itself, because the tank is just made of cheap pot metal, and if you snug it really, really tight to keep it from moving, it's going to want to bend the metal, or on those studs that are on the stock tanks, they're going to want to rip right out from the vibration. So what I did is I just used brackets that clamp onto the frame, and again, these have extended bolts. This would be looking very similar if you use the studs from the stock tank. And then I did a very similar thing on the front, same concept, same idea. And again, what that's going to do, it's going to prevent you from having to pull down on the tank to make sure it's snug to the frame itself. And in fact, the way it's done, you know, I can obviously adjust how high or how low it's sitting on that bolt on the front and on the rear. And so what that's going to do, it's going to allow me to, you know, position my tank so it can actually, it's not actually touching the frame itself. It's up high enough where the belly of the trench is not even touching the frame. It's just sitting on top of those bolts. You know, it's still nice and tight. It is not going to go anywhere. It's really, really secure, and yet there's no stress being put on that tank at all to warp it or bend it or anything. You'll never hear any vibrations out of it. It's working really nice and good. So yeah, so gosh, is there anything else? You know, hey, if you guys are looking for a couple different ideas, first off, this is a metal or aluminum, if you will, throttle linkage. You can get these kits. They're nice. So what's indifferent is all those parts are metal instead of plastic. There's no plastic on that at all. There is a set screw that's on the bottom of it, which kind of locks in the rotation of the throttle itself. So it's nice and secure. It has a very firm starting and stopping point when you're using it. You never have to, it never feels squishy at all. This is a dual cable brake handle, so one lever pulls both simultaneously, and you can't really see inside there, but there's actually like a little canter lever attachment point, so you never have to adjust them. When you're pulling on this, it's pulling even tension to both the front and the rear brakes simultaneously. You never have to touch it once you lock them in or once you hook them up and get them set to where you like it. It'll always have even pressure, even tension, if you will, to the front and rear brakes at the same time, so it's a very smart idea. I recommend it. This is just the standard stock kill switch, but when I get those lights set up, you guys are gonna love it. It's gonna have a built-in kill switch, headlight switch, turn signal switch. I can't wait to show you guys. Standard turn rear view mirrors, because safety is important. I like that, and I think I've just about covered it. Hey, by the way, always ride safety, guys. This is a DOT approved helmet. Go to the Micro Dot. That's what they call this. This model is called a Twister. Talk to Mike. I call him, he's called Mad Dog Mike at Microdot, and let him know that Dave sent you. These are DOT approved helmets. They're called Twisters because you can actually wear them forward or backward. They fit fine either way. They're approved DOT either way. They're a very low profile beanie style helmet. You can have it where the bill is in the front or sitting in the back if you want to you know, be a poser like me. So anyway, so that is it, guys. That is Spirit. You don't see a rear tail light on her currently yet. Boy, guys, you're gonna love it when she's all set up for that. But yeah, there she is. Well, hey, thanks for enduring this little bit longer version of the walk around. I hope you like it. Oh, you know, I didn't touch on it, but I'll do it right now. That little thing there, that is simply a tool kit. Rock Bros makes these. They have a whole bunch of different styles and designs and colors and all. That one fits right there, obviously really nicely. That thing has everything in it. It's got a flashlight, a bicycle pump, an extra tube. It's got a little bottle of two-stroke oil if I need to refill during a ride. Obviously, all the wrenches and Allen wrenches and screwdrivers and everything else I'd ever need are all inside there. For wire connections, there's a couple ways of doing this, but Wago makes these lever wire connectors, and what I have is this is a 2 going into a 4, so the 2 are going down into my you know, into the whatever you call it, the magneto coming from the bike, and then you got 4 coming out. 2 going to the kill switch, and then 2 going to the little CDI coil thing set up there. So that works nice and clean. Those levers, those are levers. Those red and blue things are actually levers that you hinge upward, and that lets go of the wire for easy taking them off and putting them back in. You never have to restrip your wire. You never have to solder. It's a nice, solid, firm connection. It's just locked in there when those levers are down, but when you flip them up, the wire comes out nice and perfect like. So yeah, nice clean look. You got to have a clean looking bike, but you want it to ride down the road and not vibrate loose on you guys. So hopefully you got a couple of good ideas for you if you're building one bike for yourself and looking for some ideas. This was just came through. I just did a nice 30-mile ride just now. This thing just floated down the road, and I feel awesome. This is a great hobby, guys. But be safe out there. Have fun. I'll make another one of these when I get this lighting array all figured out. I'm excited to show you what it's going to look like. But anyway, that's it for now, guys. God bless. Peace out.